What's going on, everyone? It's Zach with the Wicked Heavy Podcast. And in today's episode, I sit down with Rick Ash from the band Irah Nox. Now, Rick also has his roots in some pretty heavy deathcore bands, Torn Within, if they ring a bell, and he was also in Suicide Silence for a bit. So we get into that on the pod. We go all the way back to his roots, how he got into music, how he picked up guitar, what he was listening to early on, going all the way up to when he started Torn Within, joined Suicide Silence, and then where he is today with Irah Nox. Newer band. They actually have an album coming out October 16th. So by the time you listen to this, it might already be out. Go check it out. It's called Morticorigin, and we talk about the name of the album, what it means. But yeah, Rick, thanks so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. I had a great time talking to you, and I hope you all enjoy this conversation with Rick Ash of Irah Nox on the Wicked Heavy Podcast. Rick, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast, brother. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for those listening, this is Rick Ash. We connected over the Instagram of the Wicked Heavy Podcast, sent me some music, and I was like, I'm into this. So I was like, let's do a podcast, brother. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about his journey, his new band, Irah Nox. They rip, and the album that they've got coming out on October 16th, right? I want to make sure that's the right date.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good.
I play guitar in a band called Irah Nox. We're out here in Colorado. I'm specifically sitting in Littleton. And the four of us, we span Colorado. And so not everyone is right here in this town with me. Some folks in Denver, Danny and Logan, who play bass and who does vocals. The other guitar player who's a major engine of this music that we are presenting on October 16th.
Yeah.
And that you so graciously listened to. Really appreciate you, Zach, for having me on.
Yeah.
And this podcast is, it's a blessing. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, have you always been from Colorado, or
no?
Where were the early days?
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
California. I grew up in SoCal.
Cool.
And I was born, I have a twin brother. So,
oh, cool.
Yep. He's a couple minutes older than me, but he is responsible for a lot of things. He introduced me to playing guitar.
Oh, okay.
And all my life, he and I have been close. He grew up in a wheelchair. I grew up.
Oh, wow.
He grew up in a wheelchair and doing karate and taekwondo.
Wow.
And guitar to some degree. Meanwhile, I'm playing football and soccer and basketball. I'm running around and one day when we were 13 years old, he had a guitar teacher in the garage and they're practicing guitar together.
Yeah.
And I'm jetting out and the teacher says, hey, try this thing on guitar. And and it puzzled me because I was like, oh, I'll for sure be able to do this, no problem. And when your brain and your hand aren't communicating to each other, to know to use all your fingers to play guitar, it was a challenge. It felt like, or an obstacle, or like a puzzle. It was a puzzle.
Yeah,
it was a Rubik's Cube that I wanted to figure out immediately, and so totally changed the trajectory of my life. And
no kidding. This is interesting.
Shout out to Carlos, my twin brother. Who is like I said, big inspiration.
Yeah.
Someone who's a lot bigger than I am. I look pretty Jack Skellington right now, but my brother is known for being a gorilla.
Got it. Stocky as hell. Wow.
Dude, no neck. All shoulders, huge arms.
Unreal, man. Okay, so let's take it back then, because that's what this podcast's all about. Like before Irah Nox, before all the other music we'll talk about, how did you even get into music, or was that the moment, or were you like listening actively before that and then this guitar thing happened?
Thank you for asking me.
Yeah.
It starts way back before I was playing guitar. When
Okay.
I was traveling with five siblings and I, and my mom and my dad traveling in a big van.
Okay.
There's my brother's in a wheelchair, like I said, and my oldest sister, Margaret, she was in a wheelchair as well. And so
Wow.
we're all stacked in this big van, wheelchair. I'm sitting in front of Carlos, another brother sitting, beside me,
Yeah.
and then two more siblings sitting in the front, and we're traveling to like places to like the Grand Canyon, and
Okay.
my dad's got mixed tapes, and then maybe a little bit later got mixed CDs that he would put together.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're listening to like Bob Marley, and we're listening to Santana
Yeah.
and Bob Dylan. And if I was riding with my mom, just on trips with her, we're listening to Motown music. So
Right. Getting a mix.
and then I guess so. Fast forward some more years to when I'm thinking I'm going to be an athlete all my life. We're talking like
Okay.
freshman year of high school. No, we're talking 8th grade for me. So
All right.
that was 1999 or something.
Okay.
And I'm running out of the garage. I got my skateboard, and guitar teacher's like, yo, try this thing on guitar. That's when I started learning how to play guitar. At that point in time, the music I was listening to, so not Santana anymore, not Motown.
Yeah.
But I'm listening to Sepultura,
Oh, okay.
Rage Against the Machine,
Hell yeah.
and I'll be terrible. I'll be good at this.
Yeah.
Danom, danom, danom,
Yeah.
danom. So, wow.
Dude, it's Morello is probably for me like in terms of like favorite guitar riffs, they're all Rage riffs. So with you there.
But the metal tree, the history, in my mind for heavy music in particular goes back to Black Sabbath in the 70s.
Yeah.
I like starting there and then fast forwarding.
Right.
Because everyone knows about Black Sabbath.
Of course.
Everyone knows about Cannibal Corpse.
Yep.
Everyone knows about Slayer. I'll bring up one more band that I think everyone knows about is Suicidal Tendencies.
Of course.
So I'm like, man, all these bands are heavy. Sepultura in particular. Anytime you hear...
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you hear... like...
Yeah.
Everyone is ready to... There's an attitude that heavy music... When I think about heavy music, it's like an attitude. Forgive me.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
People like bands like Sepultura and Rage Against the Machine, super heavy. Now, in this podcast, we talk a lot about breakdowns. You talk a lot about breakdowns.
Yeah.
So when I think about breakdowns, I'm thinking like, now we're fast forwarding more years in my musical journey.
Yeah.
To 2003, 2004. And now I'm like, okay, Sepultura is heavy, regardless.
Of course.
They're always heavy. But my idea of like what heavy guitar in particular could sound like, now I'm like hardcore music. I'm like 2000. I'm thinking the band Throwdown and Raise Your Fist in the Air. This is like a pretty iconic breakdown for me. Check out Throwdown, Drive Me Dead EP. I think it's 2000. And Raise Your Fist is the first song.
Okay. Absolutely. Definitely going to add that to my list. Wow. Okay. So all like that heavy stuff then, like you're around 9. What year were you born? If you don't
86,
mind.
86.
Okay, cool. Okay. I was 90. Yep. So around like the late 90s, you're hearing all this music. How did you get introduced to it in the first place? Was it your older brother?
It was. And then that sparks another image in my mind and throws me back to, I'm like in middle school, my twin brother, guitar. but there's also people like I skated. I was a skateboarder back,
Okay.
and so skating through the neighborhood. And now I'm living just to go back to region, and
Yeah.
where I was living in California. Now I'm in Riverside County,
Got it.
the Inland Empire, and it's really hot there.
Oh yeah.
It's hot here in Colorado, and I know it's hot. You're in Rhode Island?
Yeah, it can get hot, get humid.
You're in Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just a different type of hot, but if you've
Yeah.
the hottest you've experienced, that's what summers are like there, all day long.
Damn. Wow.
So I'm skateboarding, and there are other people in the neighborhood. Jeff Holem, on IG, check him out.
Okay.
He introduced me to so I'm listening to Suicidal Tendencies, but now this person in my neighborhood is playing guitar, and
Okay.
they're like playing these thrash riffs. And so thrash for me, and Jeff Holem in particular for me,
Okay.
is digging deeper into this story for me. And
Yeah.
and just after that, I'm meeting my first bandmates. I'm meeting Jose
Okay.
Garcia, who's
Got it.
a great hardcore drummer.
Okay.
I want to ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
I want to jump back into this about Jose and his drum style.
Yeah.
What when you think about yourself, Zach, and like what you've learned as a drummer, because you're a drummer. And
Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah.
you're a good drummer. You're a great drummer.
Thank you.
When you think about how you play and like who you not idolized, who you looked up to,
Yeah.
what drummer comes to mind?
Honestly, Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater for me was like
Nuts.
the guy. Yeah, the guy I was like, man, he's so cool. He's so cool. And I just really like, of course, like I loved Travis Barker at the time too. But when I was younger, I don't know, I got put onto Dream Theater when like pretty young age, and I thought he still is probably one of the coolest dudes and coolest drummers of all time.
Okay. Now, is there a drummer, like, when you think of quintessential heavy music in your mind, what drummer do you picture first?
When I think of heavy music in my mind, what drummer do I think of first?
Or like,
This is a good one, man, because I'm just trying to think like back when I really got inspired by like truly heavy music. Man. I mean, I guess I'd say like Jordan Mancino, and I just want to make sure I'm saying that right, but like that's As I Lay Dying's original drummer.
okay.
Because he like when I heard 94 Hours and his double bass like roll in that song, I was like, oh my God, what is going on? So, and then his hair flips that he would do in the videos.
Jordan
Mancino. I'm like
Mancino.
99% on that last name.
Yeah, talking about this music and talking about it being an attitude, like, because there are heavy bands like Sepultura and, Korn. Korn is a heavy band. Rage Against the Machine is a heavy band.
Yeah.
But the difference with, let's talk about Irah Nox music, I guess, for a second.
Right.
We're playing breakdowns in our music. And so you start to distinguish heavy bands to bands that are now like hardcore bands that are screaming, that are moshing, that are stomping, they're crushing people, they're swinging, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I'm like thinking about bands like Animosity out of San Francisco.
Oh wow, yeah, dude, so sick.
Shut It Down.
Right.
And this part in it is like oh
yeah.
And then when you can play a heavy riff, and in this case people are moshing super hard to and then you can throw like play the same riff, same tempo, and now the drummer just starts playing like double time over it, and now people are still moshing.
Yeah.
And it's no longer a breakdown, but
right. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Animosity.
Super sick.
Absolutely out of San
fire.
Francisco. Shut It Down. It's only on YouTube.
Got it. I remember I used to listen to them a lot. I don't know if I know that song, but I remember Animosity. They had such sick album covers, so like the neon colors. I forget what that one was, but it was so fire. Hell yeah. Okay, so it sounds like then, so you said you met your first bandmates, which would become Torn Within.
Very good.
Yeah. So can you like how old were you and how did that all start, man? Because I definitely want to do this and then I want to hear like how you got joined Suicide Silence. And I know you've talked about this on other pods, but for those listening to this pod, I definitely want to hear that story, man, because that's wild. Because Suicide Silence, especially like that EP, was very transformative for me. So it's like, whoa, when you told me like, yeah, you originally played in Suicide, I was like, what? Crazy, man. So how the heck, how old were you when you started Torn Within?
I didn't start it. I wouldn't say that, but my age, I'm talking like I'm a senior in high school,
Okay.
and so that's like what, 18,
A
17?
senior in high school, yeah, 17, becoming 18. Yeah.
17, 18, and Jose Garcia and Justin Smith start this band. And those dudes are in Riverside County
Yeah.
in that scene with San Diego County and Orange County. So all these hardcore bands, Bound in Blood, Throwdown, 18 Visions, Bleeding Through. Here I am with Justin Smith and Jose Garcia playing in Torn Within. And
Yeah.
I'm like all new to playing like this because I'm playing thrash. I'm like playing thrash riffs. I come to Torn Within, and now I'm trying to put myself in a different type of mindset. Now that I've been exposed to hardcore dancing and slamming and moshing, I'm like the riffs I hear. I'm hearing Torn Within was heavily a hardcore sound, but we were looked at by contemporaries or peers in our scene as being kind of unique because we weren't just playing hardcore and thrash riffs and breakdowns, but now we're kind of implementing death metal parts and black. I was more accurately black metal parts because I was in myself and Justin were inspired by black metal bands at the time. A big one from the UK, and the other band was Demi Bogir.
Oh, dude, sick.
And so we're doing hardcore stuff in Torn Within in 2003, 2004, and we're playing black metal and hardcore.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it was definitely unique. It's funny. I remember listening to you guys like back in 2003 and 2004. So I was like listening back to it again before the pod, and I was like, oh man, like so unique. It was definitely a sick sound, man. So sick.
So now 2005.
Yeah.
I apologize if you hear the kids stomping around upstairs.
Dude. Oh, good, bro.
It's it's about an hour from bedtime, and they're being very playful. And
it's all good, brother. I got the same thing happening here, man. I might have a cat jump in here or open my door in a second.
In 2005, Chris Garza contacts me and asks me if I wanted to play in Suicide Silence.
Yeah.
And I was very happy for that offer.
You must have met him, right? You guys must have been hanging out, playing shows together or something. Yeah. That's sick. He's like, yo, come and play in this band. Did they need a guitar player?
My mom comes into the room where the phone is.
Yeah.
She hands it to me, and I'm like, okay. And mind you, this is like a landline. It's got a connection.
Yeah.
I'm talking, and Chris is like, come play with us in this band here in Corona. Members are singers from Riverside. Our drummer and our singer live together. And and Rick, we also need a bass player. Do you think Mike would want to play with us? Mike Bodkins from Torn Within. Some OG fans will know Mike Bodkins and from Suicide Silence. So we enter Suicide Silence in 2005, and if you don't mind me going into the story, I know our time is short.
No, please go deep,
We're
brother. I got time.
we're in. I'm I'm going deep into the memory
Yeah,
bank. Into the
yeah,
memory bank. No, um, I'm going deep down the football field to the 50-yard line, and
yeah,
I'm catching your pass.
yeah.
It's 2005, and we're in Garza's garage, and it's like a studio basically because there's no cars
Okay.
parked in this garage. It was his practice space. It was our practice space, and I think I might be playing or learning Destruction of a Statue, and then Mitch and Josh come in, and Bodkins and I were all talking, and Mitch is explaining, you know, I know you come from Torn Within, Rick, where you guys were like doing hardcore music with like black metal stuff, and it's like, but I want you to write sludgy, or I want you to write like the craziest shit you could think of.
Yeah, man.
I want you to write just go crazy,
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and Garza and Josh, they're all kind of just like, yep, like this is what we want to do. And
Yeah.
So that was awesome to have a clear idea of like what I should do as a guitar player and as a musician and as a songwriter.
Yeah.
And I started crafting riffs, and they were sounding like Mitch described it, sludgy,
Yeah.
the craziest shit you could think of. And it's all there for you to hear on that Suicide Silence 2005 EP, with the exception of Destruction of a Statue. That was composed by a different guitar player.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's one. I love that track. That's crazy. That's the first song that you had to like come in and play. Wow. That is so cool, man.
So MySpace, right? Like MySpace.
Yeah, dude.
The internet in general, right? People, I remember during that time, it's like the first time I'm AOL chatting, and
Yeah.
And now MySpace is a thing, and so we made a live music video. It was just live footage, is a better way to say it.
I know exactly what video you're talking about. Josh is on drums with a mask on, right?
Right.
Dude, I watched that so many times. That's so crazy. When you told me you had played in yeah, dude. When you told me you had played in like original Suicide Silence, I was like, I think he's like in that video. So you were in that video, right?
With the same hair, just like going like this.
Yeah, dude. That's so fucking nuts, man. But that song, for me, that is my favorite Suicide Silence song. But like Destruction of a Statue, I like and that
Josh
really
Tefano is the author of those riffs. When I say author, he crafted those riffs and put that together, and I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, dude, brutal.
Is that the same breakdown that has the like I mean, it's I'll just pull it up, but
it's such a fire track.
I mean, that was 2005. It's 2024. It's 2024. Yeah. That was a long.
Crazy, bro.
As far as social media goes, and people's attention span, and mine included, that's like, yo, man, Rick, what you doing on this podcast?
You know what's crazy? Like, my first time I saw Korn was like over 20 years ago. It's weird to say, like, I saw Korn 22 years ago. Like, as a 34-year-old. It's just kind of weird now. So, yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Anything happening
Korn that long ago? Like, during the 90s?
Yeah, dude. 2002. Yeah.
Was this song out yet? What's the one? Got the Life. Was Got the Life out?
Yeah, oh yeah. Dude, it might have just come out because I think like that album Follow the Leader had just come out. So
I'm not
crazy.
A drummer. Sorry.
Yeah, dude. David was cool, man. Like, I do miss him. Ray's such a fire drummer, their newest drummer, right? He's been with them since 2007, so it's been a while. But yeah, dude, David was a really cool drummer. He played some weird shit, but he played for the song, right? So like it just fit their weird style. So that's cool.
Yeah, he's a drummer that most people, when they think of heavy music, well, a lot of people, when they think of heavy music, can think of that time and him on drums
Yeah.
and that
Oh
band
yeah.
Born. But
It's funny though.
Rage Against the Machine too.
Oh, dude.
Rage Against the Machine at that same time.
Yeah, man. So fire. Wow. Okay, so you're ripping it with Suicide Silence. How long?
It's 2005.
Yeah, how long did that last?
Till 2006.
Okay.
So it wasn't quite just like a January to December like tight year. It was a little over a year.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, so that's how long I played with them.
That's rad, man. Real quick, this will be an edit. I need to plug my computer in. I thought I did. So give me 2 seconds.
Oh yeah. I'll just talk about, man, 1 year. It was only 1 year, in the year of 2005, and
hold on.
Mitch Lucker, myself. All right, I'll wait.
Sorry. Pause. I had to plug my computer in or we were gonna die.
Oh, okay.
So we'll start that over. So you, I guess essentially the story of why you departed Suicides.
Yeah. So it's crazy. That time, it's like it was only a 1 year span, right? I'm in the band.
Yeah.
And I love hearing, I mean, because now it's 2024, so fast forward, 23 years, sorry. And I love hearing people right now be like, the Suicide Silence 2005 EP. Like, and people on podcasts talking about this same question that you're asking me, like, what band, heavy music, inspired you? And people go, 2005 Suicide Silence. I'm like, yeah. So I'm just fired up to talk about. Well, I'm fired up that that I'm making music. I have an album coming out.
Yeah.
With Ian, with Danny, with Logan.
Yep.
And it's to complete a project with three other people, and all their and busy lives that we have, and things that just happen naturally, real horrors that happen in the world. It's a blessing to be writing and playing and making an album with, that we like to call it brutal, when people describe deathcore music.
It's definitely heavy, bro.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
And hardcore music. For me, hardcore bands are a big inspiration. I just want to spend just a moment talking about hardcore again.
Yeah, please.
But the reason why is because they're East Coast bands that would come through Riverside County, and I'd come watch crazy destruction. And now there are real horrors in the world happening. But like, I'm going to a show and here is art, here's music being played, here is a bunch of young people, young and old, frankly, coming together and moshing. Yeah. But not just moshing, like sometimes there's straight up, as we know, like destruction, and And I don't do a good job of mimicking that because fortunately, I haven't been served like that. I never wish to either.
Right.
So in that one year, 2005, and the 2005 EP from Suicide Silence that Bodkins, Josh, Mitch, and Garza and I did, like to hear people like ride that wave, or to see people riding that wave of that sound, or even to just talk about it right now is like, man, I'm still writing music, and I want to connect with people and just like talk with you and forgive me. I want to live. I worship God, just so you know, and I just want to say, when I say forgive me, I mean like, forgive me, I guess, for not listening more. So there are a lot of bands out there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And when writing this album, I did not listen. I'll speak. I don't know if Ian and Danny, but myself, I didn't listen to any metal, any heavy music, any heavy. Yeah. And there are so many bands doing this, making music and having this outlet and calling something heavy and brutal.
Right.
It's all like, this is really cool to be doing it. It's really cool to talk with you.
Yeah.
And connect with other musicians like yourself who plays drums. Yeah, Zach Matuk plays drums. Check him out.
Thanks, bro. I'm like starting to make more videos. I appreciate that. Yeah, dude, but I've been like last couple of days been like on repeat going through it. It's really unique. I mean, of course it's brutal. It's heavy, but I hear it is different than most of like the deathcore that you hear nowadays, right? Which I still love, but it's definitely its own thing. So like hats off to you for, I guess, thinking outside the box here and writing something that is, like you said, like if deathcore in 2000, what was it you said, 8 went right, you guys are going left here.
And in my case, I guess 2005, like, because I was 2006. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a story I facilitated on the Brutality podcast, but But to understand my journey a little bit better, Irah Nox, EYE, Irah Nox is thrash. It's a lot of thrash. I mean, even the studio production speaks thrash. Speaks 2006.
Yeah.
And but the musicians in the band, man, it isn't just thrash, because Ian is bringing, he's bringing gent. Is that how people call it?
Yeah.
So he's bringing gent. He's bringing odd time signatures. He's on the track 8 and track 7, or track 8 and track 9.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1s and 6/8. 1s and 7/8, and then the second song on the album has his whole entire section of the song that he composed, because that song that I'm speaking of is one half of it is me, and the second half is him. And the way we blended those songs together to try and trick your mind to think it's one song. It was the studio production speaks 2006, speaks thrash. But we also, Ian, brings gent. He brings this odd time signature feel, this more methodical, mathy.
I knew it, dude. I was gonna say, like, I hear like Feel Before the March of like I hear like mathy stuff going on, but it always like comes back. I could still like bob my head to it, but I was like, this is more math. More math than it is like linear deathcore, which is why I'm like, this is a breath of fresh air, because like I don't know where it's going at all times, but it's like wherever it goes, I'm like, this is sick.
And then I like to think about it, instead of math and science, think about it as like earth and wind.
There you go.
The earth part being the heavy breakdowns, let's say. The wind part being the thrash. But then you add in fire, and you add in water, and the water is the black metal stuff.
Right.
That's in there as well. Real interesting ear candy from the left and right channel, or the left and right channel, of both guitars doing completely non-unison riffs. Ian playing one riff, I'm playing something else, and so you get this black metal vibe to it.
Yeah.
But the fire, I don't know where the fire comes from. I guess that the fire is the death metal, death metal aspect. So we really talked about four different like metal genres, and Irah Nox is not those, but it's deathcore. But different.
Yeah, definitely different. Which one of the elements would you say like premonition? Because when that came on, I was like, this is different, man. Like, how did that song come up? And for those listening, it's like definitely one of like the more softer, it's like probably the only soft song on the album, but I was like, this is so unique. Dude, it sounded like a Frank Ocean like production to me. It was so cool.
Gnarly. So studio production, I guess
Even the way the song came together just sounds like Frank Ocean. Like I was like, I feel like this could be Frank Ocean.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. No, it's part of the horror vibe.
Yeah.
Bringing horror back into this conversation, but not. I'm talking about like art and writing, like Stephen King novels.
Yeah.
And I guess, just ideas that seem horrible versus, there are some real horrible actions happening in the world. And I just want to point that out, that this music, it's a blessing to be doing. And so for all the bands out there that are grinding real hard, and for all of us who are grinding, you yourself included, Zach.
Yeah.
I Saw God and their song Gaza.
Right.
Yeah.
It
harkens back to 2005, that song.
Right.
And Zach Diebold or Daybold?
I say Diebold. He didn't correct me, so sorry, Zach, if you're listening. I think it's Diebold.
and we got Zach Matuk here hosting this podcast, the Wicked Heavy podcast. And,
that's right.
And so I'm not sure where I was going with this again.
Well, you're singing about the times and what's going on. Totally get it.
And Irah Nox. And this is deathcore. It's different though, because we were just feeling the having to make sacrifices, being a father, having 2 kids, and thinking about terrible things that happen in the world, making music and having my family and being able to talk to you, Zach, and people like the other Zach.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to be doing this, and so I'm thankful to be talking about it, and more importantly, writing the music. We wrote something that we liked, that we are happy with. We wrote something that was hard to write as well. Being creative with musicians is can be hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
everyone's got ideas. Real quick, I wanted to ask this. The name Irah Nox, how did that come about? And then the name of the album, I'll let you say it after you explain what Irah Nox means or how it came about.
Well, Irah Nox, and I think the first thing that happened was Ian and I are corresponding constantly in January, and he's like, let's talk about a name. We're talking about doing music, like it'd be fun to just give it a name.
Yep.
And so he came up with, I want to say Nova Nox or something, and then it just was like, okay, let's talk about names. And in my mind, I'm thinking about music, and now I'm like, okay, and so I threw out there the Irah part. And it's really just the initials of Ian and I, since we were the only 2 working on this at the time.
Oh, cool.
We were dreaming together about making heavy, different, thrashy, hardcore, breakdown, deathcore, death metal, black metal music.
Yeah.
So, Irah. And then the Nox part was kind of a collaboration. Ian liked Nox in his original idea that he came up with, and so it became Irah Nox, and it's taken on new meaning.
Cool.
In this time that we live in, and just to play into our genre a little bit of deathcore, it's taken on this meaning of like, if you've ever, I have experienced, moments of dread and terror and anxiety, like at night by myself, getting ready to go to bed, and I'm stuck listening to a negative voice speaking to me in my head, telling me, I think therapists would call it negative self-talk. So I'm hearing a bunch of negative self-talk, and I'm also noticing that I'm experiencing dread and terror.
Okay.
And I'm having a hard time breathing. And I'm like, man, I got over that feeling several hours later, like 4 a.m. when the sun is starting to come up So it was a long night of terror and dread and
Right.
trying to work through demons, if you will.
Okay.
And Irah Nox, Nox meaning night, and Irah meaning that worst voice that can prey on us,
Right.
that you hear that makes you struggle at night to sleep, to be comfortable in life,
Yeah. Wow.
to 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 live your life.
Yeah.
Irah Nox has come to represent that, like those moments of dread, I guess.
Wow. That's powerful, man. And then the album name, which again comes out on October 16th. Can you say it again? I don't want to mess it up.
It's called Morticorigin.
Yes.
Morty means death,
Okay.
and then core nods to hardcore music,
Yeah.
and then but the word in there also. So Morty core, and then origin.
Yeah.
And so I mentioned to Ian this idea early on, like I want to write a song that's like that is just called like birth and deathcore,
Yeah.
and
Interesting.
artistically, let's imagine what that song would sound like. And I'm thinking like Sepultura, and I'm thinking hardcore bands like East Coast hardcore bands like On Broken Wings,
Oh, my
and
bro. So good. Black My Heart. You remember them?
Bury Your Dead.
Yeah, they're sick too. Absolutely. That's you got it. Nice.
And then other bands too. I'm thinking like another East Coast band, Between the Buried and Me. But I'm thinking 2004, Between the Buried and Me's EP, that basically not the Silent Circus, but
I got you.
preceding, and those breakdowns I was heavily influenced by that band on the East Coast, and East Coast hardcore, and bands like Terror. And so Terror still rules.
Oh yeah. That's sick. Morticorigin. That's cool, man.
It's supposed to mean deathcore origin, and the music is not trying to do that. Is not trying to tell that story.
I got you. Yeah. That's cool. Damn. Yeah. Well, it rips. I mean, I've gone through it a few times. Is that you? I know there's songs with features, but are you on vocals?
No, a couple people have said that. No, that's Mike Sightings. He is
on the whole album?
No. Just on Premonition.
Oh yeah. I saw that. But on the whole, but are you screaming otherwise?
Oh no. But back to Premonition.
Okay. Yeah.
Back to Premonition. That song, the production, you said it was like Frank Ocean. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
Sound like it could be a Frank Ocean song, like off of Blonde. No joke.
And I think what makes that song metal and supernatural, and specifically like horror supernatural, is Mike is singing about, wanting someone. There's a picture being painted of like someone near a noose, on a tree out in a very like, they're all alone, and it's dark, it's dim, and you're full of terror. Mike is singing these lyrics of like, I wish I could recall the lyrics at the moment, but go check out the song. It's the middle song on the album, and it is different, but it's horror, it's supernatural, and the music, there's like metal riffy, like Guitar God like type of metal solos happening in the left channel, and then on the right channel, you have these pretty dense chords being played, like major seventh chord to a minor seventh chord, and maybe even a minor nine, and so, but it's being played on acoustic guitar, and so the reason why the song is there is, like here I am talking about all this art and theory stuff of like just being creative, right? And having fun making music. But it kind of plays a production role with like being an ear cleanser, like cleansing.
Yeah. Yep. Perfect point in the album, like it's like a break from the earth and the fire, as you were saying.
Sonically, yeah. It's a sonic break from distortion.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I dig. I like, even like if you think about how some people make tour bills now, or like festivals, they'll do like heavy band, then maybe something not heavy in the middle at all, like acoustic, and then heavy band again. Like when I saw the Ghost Inside, they did their like comeback show out in California. It was like heavy band and then Wage War acoustic set, and then the Ghost Inside came out again, just to give people like that, that different dynamic. So I get it, man. It works well. Yeah, that song is rad.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
I'm really happy you shared that.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a question regarding the album. Oh, please, yeah.
What's your favorite Korn song?
My favorite Korn song, "Did My Time," is up there. I really love that song. Particularly like the live version, because they like really they really slow it down during the breakdown. Lately, "Clown" is up there because it's just so heavy. That's off of, I want to say that, there you go. Yeah, I did my time. I can hear it. "Clown" is so good, especially like off this last tour, because they slow it down a bit. There was something about it. But then there's like deep cuts by Korn that I don't think they play live too much, but I love. One's called "BBK" and the other one's called "Beat It Upright." Those two songs are so fire, dude.
Okay.
There's just something about them. "Here to Stay," big fan. That was the opener at the last show a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
You really, you know a lot of this band. They musically, would you say that they inspired you?
Oh, absolutely, man. Like, I remember when I first heard, it was really Twist. I guess I'll call it my aunt's like husband, who already had a kid, right? So not blood related, but I call him my step cousin. But he made me a tape.
Was he a mentor as well?
I would say so, yeah, because I really wanted to be like him. He had his name's Chris. He had a South Park hat that he always wore. So he's probably 10 years older than me. But when I would go hang out at their house, he had a South Park hat on and like a Korn shirt, and he played bass. And his favorite bands were Tool, Rage Against the Machine, Soundgarden, Korn, and Metallica.
All heavy bands. All heavy bands.
So that's really kind of what put me down that path. But he introduced me to Korn, and when I heard Twist and Ball Tongue, I like kind of was just like, what is happening? Shoots and Ladders is another one. That's like nursery rhymes the whole time. That song's crazy.
Got the Life for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was like what was it? There was a DVD or a movie, I don't recall the format, but if you weren't at Woodstock, which I guess you could have been since you're in that area.
Dude,
Woodstock 99.
I wish. Well, I don't know. I heard it was really brutal, but yeah, the footage looks insane.
That's when I saw Korn's performance to all those people. I was
crazy.
Like, that's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna pay attention to Korn's music.
Yeah, dude. It's. I feel like they inspired a ton of this music, man. Like
Garza was heavily inspired by Korn.
He's got like a Korn guitar like in his podcast room.
He's met his idols, or he's met his mentors to a degree.
That's so cool, man. Yeah. Who would you say yours are?
Mine are Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman, mainly.
Cool.
There's the guitar players from Slayer.
Oh yeah.
And, and Tom Morello.
Hell yeah.
Now, if you're getting more into death metal riffs, for me, I was inspired by the guitar players from Cannibal Corpse. And,
wild. Ooh, this is good. Dude, you know what? Let's not do a breakdown. What are your favorite riffs, bro?
Let me pull one up.
Yeah. Dude, I'm like, I just love. I gotta like, my friend Eric. He was like, "What are some of your favorite riffs?" And I gave him like a lot of Rage Against the Machine riffs and stuff. And then he's like, mine are this, but they were like not riffs. I had to like kind of educate him. Sorry if you're listening, Eric, but he sent me non-riffs. I was like, these are not riffs, bro. Oh, I'm excited. Yeah.
So like, as you know, like that is an influence for me, and you can hear it because one guitar is playing the riff, and then the other guitar is not playing unison with it. It's playing a melody, like a harmony with it. And so like our music in Irah Nox heavily has a lot of Ian is doing it like this on guitar, I'm doing it like this on guitar. And that happens almost the entire time.
Absolutely.
In this Irah Nox experience. When it gets heavy, real heavy, like in the second to last track, it's like the only time that the guitars go unison. And it's a cool little studio thing too.
That's cool.
To have both guitars before the heavy breakdown unison part, have the guitars playing hard center, like 50%, and then when the heavy part, unison guitar parts come in, then you completely like just pan the guitars hard left and right, 100%, and just made that sound heavier.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
absolute riffers, man.
And then, sorry, you should say something while I find this.
All right, so one of my favorite is "Sad But True" by Metallica. Dude, I think, going back to the question you asked earlier, which like, hey, a drummer, like when you think of quintessential like heavy drummer, it is Lars, right? Like,
thank you,
dude.
That's what Jose Garcia would say too.
But I guess the one that like influenced what made me want to play like this kind of stuff and like deathcore, metalcore was probably Azalea Dying's drummer at the time. I just had never heard double bass like that. But yeah, Lars for the win for the heavy drummer.
Yeah, so Jose from Torn Within.
Yeah.
When I started hanging out with him, he was a gnarly drummer because he sounded like Lars, and to me, like just the authority, the sound of a kit. All of the Tama gear and A custom cymbals and
you got everything.
And he even tried like all the different things that Lars did, like going from whatever kind of snare to some crazy other size or and like trying all the different Lars Jose Garcia he really introduced me to what it feels like and sounds like to play in a hardcore band. I mean, you and forgive me, the drummer from Silent Planet, your friend.
Oh, Alex, yeah.
You and Alex were talking about that pocket and that feeling, and then hardcore. Like Jose had that. He still has that.
That's what's up.
And so yeah, that really helped me a lot in my hardcore music journey.
Yeah, man. What other riffs you got?
Well, I think I stopped it short because.
Oh, actually coming in pretty clear. I can hear it.
Good. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
This is old. 1991 production.
Wow. Is this Cannibal?
Yeah.
My friend Evan would approve. He got me into like all of the brutal death metal.
Well, the production, what I meant by the 91 production, I hope that didn't sound like I was bad-mouthing the engineers at the time, because this is amazing production. What I'm referring to is just the guitar tone in general. The current tone is the current bands, the current sounds have a specific tone, and this one just has a different one.
Yeah, man. What track is this?
That is Butchered at Birth.
Nice. Corpse.
Saying that.
It's all good, bro. I have a fetus shirt on. I'm trying not, my buddy Evan got me really into, I'll say, called brutal death metal, and I went down like a dying fetus, like just a big. They were my number one listen to band. I think it was last year. I just couldn't stop because I was so blown away. Saw them pretty soon after he introduced me. They were playing on tour, and I had to go. And I can't believe 3 dudes can rip that hard and sound that tight and scream while they
Again,
rip.
I worship God. I don't worship them, but if I didn't worship God, I would worship.
Yeah.
I worship them because
Totally get it.
they they shred real. Like, again, could you name me a favorite Dying Fetus breakdown?
So at this point, a few, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like they're just this flat out heavy band.
It's
And,
so crazy. It's just like unrelenting, and it really is crazy that the bass player, like he kind of blows me away the most, even though I'm a drummer. But like the fact that he's playing the exact same thing as the guitar player essentially is insane.
yeah,
It's so
yeah.
sick.
Uh,
Wow.
can
Oh,
I bring
yeah.
up another band to you? And
Yeah, please.
you let me know if they're on that level. Because they're on that level for me. Cryptopsy.
So I know who they are, but I don't like know them well. But I
I
know that they're like major, like important band.
We're talking 90, 93,
Okay.
until now, and again, Dying Fetus. I don't know if they're not. I don't think they go back that far, but Dying Fetus is also like doing this for
Man.
20 years.
It's crazy that bands like this can do this like that long. It's awesome.
And be so heavy. Like, there are new bands
dude.
out that are super heavy. Like, is it the Reverend, or Reverend?
Yeah.
And I saw God. The Reverend guys are probably right now like telling, like, yo, he got our name wrong. I hope, don't give me a hard time. I'm doing dad stuff and I'm doing Irah Nox stuff. And
yeah.
there are a lot of bands out there right now. And, um, I didn't listen to any metal during writing the music in this album, Morticorigin.
Yeah.
Now that it's done, and now that I can just take a breath of fresh air to talk music with you,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to listen to these bands, and I See
man.
God, and Darasum, and DNG, Suicide Cages. I don't know what contemporary bands are in Rhode Island, but can you think of a couple, or is there one that comes to mind?
That's interesting, man. I can't think like, and I love Rhode Island, but I can't really think of like any heavy bands, at least right now, from Rhode Island. But there is, oh man, I forget what the name. I always forget the name of. There's like a pretty significant death metal band, like brutal death metal band that's originally from Providence. I wish I could remember it right now, but they were like actually like Satan worshiping death metal. I can't remember the name, but I could not believe like that they originated in Rhode Island, and a lot of the members have now like passed away in like weird ways. I can't think of the name right now. Someone listening probably knows, but yeah, I don't know any current Rhode Island bands that are like getting heavy.
All right,
sure,
so
there are some.
Any listeners out there?
Hit me up.
The Wicked Heavy podcast on Spotify. You can comment now on podcasts. So
that's true.
Let Zach know. Let us all know who. Who's out there.
Yep. I just remember like when I was younger, some of the members of bands that I like maybe lived in Rhode Island. Like I was listening to Vanna, On Broken Wings. I don't think any of them did. Black My Heart was another like local band. I love them so much, bro. That's my favorite hardcore album, Before the Devil by Black My Heart. Yeah, man, so much good music.
Well, I'm gonna check Black My Heart out. And
so good, dude.
Just vibe.
I think you'll dig it. If you like East Coast hardcore, which it sounds like you do, then you are in for a treat, my bro.
Okay.
I love it, man. I did want to ask this, and if it's too tough to talk about,
okay,
feel free to skip it. Do you have? Because I never got to see like Mitch live, right? I never got to see, and I was like really into Suicide Silence back in that time, and I missed them at Warped. But do you have a favorite memory of your time with Mitch and Suicide Silence that just sticks out in your head?
Not really. And what I mean by that is, my mind first thing I think of is after the memorial show was completed, fans, audience fans of Mitch, audience, are still like, on the floor, and the lights come completely on, and I think we were asked, some questions about, or asked to share something, about Mitch, and I said, I just, you asked me about a favorite time, and all I could think of at that time was like, seeing Mitch. I saw him play on stage, I saw him in videos, but I also saw him in real life, like hanging out next to me. And dude was a good looking, handsome, happy, fun person, spirit to be around. And Josh said something memorable. He brought up a memorable moment that we all had shared as a band.
Yeah.
Coming home from like Reno, it's late at night, and in the van, the big white van with all of our gear.
Yeah.
We're talking like only a couple of us are awake. Josh is driving, and I'm sitting in the row of seats right behind Josh. So I feel like everyone's asleep behind me, and we're listening to audiobooks. We're listening to Harry Potter on tape. Cassette.
Sick.
And I want to say like Dobby just died or something. Dobby just died.
Yeah. Oh God.
Podcast.
It's tragic.
And all of a sudden, Josh remembers this, and I'm glad he does. That he was like, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Mitch is like, "Oh man, like that sucks." And Josh was like, "What the fuck? You're awake still? Like you've been driving all night."
Oh man.
Like there was no talking for hours. It felt like everyone was asleep. And so,
yeah. It just comes out of nowhere. Fucking Dobby died. That sucks. Oh man.
It's so true. Dobby dying does.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was tough. Man, that's a good story, bro.
But,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well.
So, what about you? Did you ever? Do you have a? I guess maybe we end on this. Do you have a favorite? Did you ever? Well, let me ask you this: did you ever see the performer Mitch on stage, rocking? Did you ever see that?
No, man, and like I am sad that I didn't. I guess I missed the opportunities to. If it was like I forget why I couldn't go to the Warp that they were on. I know I was like such a fan too. So it is sad. I'm sad that I never got to see him, but I'm very happy that I discovered that band on my own. No one showed Suicide Silence to me. I don't know. I remember being on iTunes and The Cleansing like came up for some reason, and I just like, this looks heavy, and I listened to it, and I remember like immediately sending it to my friend Sam and being like, dude, I don't care what you're doing right now on my flip phone, probably. Maybe I don't think I had an iPhone at the time. I was like, dude, you have to listen to this right now. And like,
that came out in 2007, right?
Yeah, man. And like, then we went back and like the EP and stuff. So it was just like the EP and like The Cleansing were out. We just like, we're like, there's nothing better. Like it just blew our mind that.
So that was purely on studio production and like songwriting that you were like, man.
Oh yeah,
Mitch
dude. I was like, first of all, there's vocals. I've never heard anything. Second of all, like on The Cleansing, the drum production. I don't know. It's unbelievable. Whoever did that. Like I was like, this sounds crazy. Right.
Alex, shout out to Alex Lopez for doing that, because I remember you shared that story in your conversation with Alex about
he pulled to go to see Meshuggah.
Yeah, so you were there to see Alex. Was Alex, what year is that? Was he still playing? What band?
Yeah, he was definitely playing in Suicide Silence. So basically, I had tried to get him on SJC, and
let's call SJC?
it. Oh, sorry, SJC Drums. That's my musical background led me to be working in like marketing and A&R for a drum company out of Massachusetts, SJC Drums.
SJC Drums, okay.
Yeah, and I tried to get Alex, as a huge fan, on him, but he was like still tight with Tam. I didn't want to I don't try to like ruin any relationships if people are happy with their drum company. But he was fun, and he entertained the conversation. We talked drums, and then we just stayed in touch. And we were at a festival. I was there for SJC, trying to do networking. Yeah, he saw me after they had played, and he's like, Zach, come with me. Let's go watch Meshuggah. And it was just a good time. Yeah,
Wow.
he was having the time of his life, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, good dude. But yeah, man, I'm sad I never got to see Mitch, but I'm happy that the music kind of will live forever. You know, I think about that sometimes. I'm like, I'm so thankful that music kind of is always there whenever you need it.
Would
I don't
you,
know.
people put music, I think people still, the government still puts music up there on the moon in some time capsule. What would you put, on
That's a
your,
good one, bro.
what heavy band
Oh,
would you, petition the government to be like, add this to the catalog to space?
wow. That is such a fun. Dude, that's probably one of the best questions anyone ever asked on this.
All right,
That,
let's do this together.
wow.
Let's come up with an answer together as a team. Let's
One
start.
band.
Where would we start? Like I think we both agree on corn. We both agree on dying fetus. We both agree on.
Yeah. So can it be like a list of bands?
No, we got to me and you. We
Yeah, it's
just
just
let's
one
try to come
band.
up. Yeah,
Okay. Let's
okay.
assume. I think we have to assume Metallica's on there.
I would put Sepultura. I would put Sepultura on there.
That's your answer. Like you're gonna pick one
That would
band.
be yes, and
Okay.
then
That's really interesting.
if
I was just
us
saying,
do
like
it,
I was
yeah.
assuming like there's a list already maybe, but if I had to pick just one band that I think is really important to be put into space for people to hear,
For heavy people to listen
I
to.
think I'm gonna go with Meshuggah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. That's a great
Because
answer.
yeah, and I appreciate it. Like, and it's not, and I really like them, but I'm not like I like Corn more than I like Meshuggah. But I
But
think like
every,
Meshuggah is important for
every,
people to hear later. I don't know
whatever,
why.
every, would you say that because your answer, you're like that's the band that was it? Is it fair to say that every band, every heavy band is trying to be like Meshuggah?
I think a lot. I don't know if they're trying to be like them, but I do. I feel like most
Or
heavy
sound,
bands,
maybe studio sound wants to sound like
maybe.
that,
I
or
think
composition wise, they try to sound like that. I think they're
what it
just
is, I
they're
think
just
they're
trying.
so that bands look up to how. I think it's just like how. I think it's part production because live they sound crazy. But I think it's also like, wow, like how can you be that tight of a band and like be able to play? Because I think like Chaos Sphere, I don't quote me on this, but I think Chaos Sphere was recorded without like a clicker, whatever that means. Like there was no like Chaos Sphere was just like recorded. I don't know what that means in a recording setting, but they weren't really like on timing. Like they just did it, whatever
So
that means.
you're saying to me that these musicians were so on point and could play so
Yeah,
pristine and clean and sharp
yeah,
and with great precision together that it just sounded like it was a click, but it wasn't.
yeah. That's what I've heard from Craig Reynolds on his podcast, The Downbeat. So I don't
What's
know,
up?
man, but yeah,
What's
I
up with
think
that
I
podcast?
that's big inspiration for me. His podcast. I
Right.
definitely one of the reasons I'm doing this. Yeah, he's the man, straight from the past drummer. Just like created a brand for himself, and he talks to a lot of my favorite bands. So yeah, The Downbeat is the truth, man.
Sweet.
Yep. He started as like more like drumming bass, but now has branched out a lot. So very happy with what he's done and proud of that dude. He's cool as hell.
Well, so that's a wrap. That's what we came up with for our answer to what heavy music. You heard it on this podcast first, the Wicked Heavy podcast.
Damn right.
Meshuggah, Meshuggah and Sepultura records are gonna be up in the
Yeah.
extraterrestrial.
And the one I would put, I'll go a step further. Catch 33 is the album I would send up to space. That is
Okay,
such a unique album.
and I would say Chaos AD from Sepultura.
Word.
And I'd be
Hell
like,
yeah, man.
I would tell the aliens, or our future
Right.
our future race
Yeah.
that the first track they should listen to is Nomad.
There you go. That's what's up. Catch 33, the unique thing about it's like one big song. So if you haven't heard this, definitely check it out. It's like one song. It's crazy. You really can't tell where the tracks split. So I would just say you have to listen to the whole thing.
I
Alien
love that.
Race.
I love that. Do the
It's
same
cool.
thing. Do the same thing, y'all, for Irah Nox.
There you go.
Give that thing a listen all the way through,
and I will make sure
enjoy.
like this, and I'll post it when it comes out to it. Those listening, Irah Nox, IRAH space NOX, and the album comes out October 16th, and it's called Morticorigin.
Thank you, Zach.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. This was fun as hell.